Hello everyone, it's Sebastian, aka Microstakes for PokerVIP.com, and today I am gonna present you, or I'm gonna start with my two-part video series on Ultima Poker, which is a pretty new, it's like basically a brand new poker site or poker network. And yeah, so I personally don't know all the details about the site either. If you want to get all the details, make sure to check out the Poker VIP site and the Ultima site, their own site basically. But what I can tell you is that from what I've seen so far, the software looks pretty solid. Yeah, and the support looks really good. Like they have a pretty chill, pretty nice, pretty helpful support overall. Was in contact with them in terms of like depositing the money on here and so on, and they seem like really helpful. And yeah, what I also can tell you about the site is they have a bunch of good promotions. They have a ton of different things on their site, like personal rake races from the site, and then like depositing a certain amount to get a certain amount of like tournament tickets. And also like in terms of like rakeback, their rakeback structure is really good. You can get a lot of rakeback depending on how much your volume is and other factors like basically how much you play, as it always is. Close spot here. Also like their rake structure is pretty good. And yeah, overall it seems like a pretty good upcoming poker site. I'm gonna make a somewhat loose open here. And yeah, today I'm, as always, gonna play 3 tables of 2 tables 10 NL, 1 table 25 NL, or 20 NL rather, not 25. Making a somewhat loose open here. What I have seen so far, which was a bit weird, is I don't really know how to set it so my players only on the bottom, which I'm really used to. Pretty sure there is a way, I just haven't found it yet, but shouldn't be too disturbing, I hope. Also somewhat new experience for me as well, to play without being seated at the bottom. Opening the pocket kings, pretty good hand here. Pretty good hand, hoping to get some value. And as you can see, a lot of short stickers as well, like this guy being short, right? Can already tag him. He's a weaker player. This guy being short, tagging him as well. You can see they also have a tag system. And basically a lot of short stackers. Here's another one on table 3. 2 on table 3. Basically a lot of short stackers all over the place. I guess at the 20 NL table there are not a bunch of them, but yeah. So here's a limb. Here are 2 limbs in front of me and a really small isolate. I think we're gonna weasel our way in with the 7-3 suited. Pretty ambitious, but given the amount of limpers in front of us, I think it's reasonable. Both of the limpers fold to basically the min click, because this also, his raise was also like a min raise, which already makes me think he's a weaker player as well. It's relatively big, not gonna try to fuck with him there. Could check raise it, but nah, just gonna play a solid strat there. Pre-call was pretty loose, but given the odds we get and given there are like 2 or like 3 really probably recreationals in front of us, while someone falls down on the side, I think it's profitable to get into the mix there. Limp pot, we flop a pair. We're gonna see a turn. Top left. Is it for you? He checks, we're gonna bet for value and protection. He obviously can call with a lot of high cards. He can obviously fold hands like 9-8. Relatively bad turn. Either he picks up a bunch of equity or he has us beat someone and he leads spot. Pretty easy fold with the worst pair we can have there. One of the worst continues we could have there. As you see on table 1, we also have played a bit. Already did get some juicy value in one spot. While this guy picks up aces and gets top set. The ace 10 suited. The ace 8 will fold, would obviously have opened if folded to me. The ace 10, I'm gonna opt to open. What I like is that if you like click on the plus symbol, it only makes it more by like 5 cents, which lets me choose my sizings way more accurately than on some other sites. Basically, it only adds half a big blind instead of a full big blind. I'm gonna even fold to the min ratio of the 4-6. Probably could for heal there, to be honest. It's pretty close, given rake, and so on. Just gonna check down the ace-10, have some showdown value. Don't really think that ends fold. He leads into me for $1. Probably a weaker player. Just gonna bluff catch. Bets 1/3 on a river. I don't know, we get a really great price. I have no idea what he's doing. I'm just gonna call and see what he's up. He has a straight, he basically has the nuts. Yeah, we could fold there to the min lead, but given the price we get, thought there's a reasonable chance he could be doing something weird. We're gonna value bet here for a relatively big amount. Basically targeting a hand like ace-10, king-jack, king-9. We bet about 2/3 pot there. Yeah, and we get paid pretty fast. Maybe could have gone for a bigger sizing on the river. I think our sizing is pretty good. 2/3 there. I bet about $4 into $6. Seems appropriate. Could maybe pump it up to about 5 instead of 4, but yeah. Intuitively, I thought the 2/3 is pretty good there. Pretty fitting. 3-9 suited. Gonna go into the muck while I'm reloading and pressing the auto rebuy. Okay. Here, short stacker, non-reloader, tagging him as a weaker player. While we wait for a few hands. Overall, I was pretty surprised about like I said, it's a pretty brand new site. I was pretty surprised about how many tables are actually running. Like I was expecting like basically the site to be like not as active, basically, but actually quite a lot of tables running. Even though for EU times it's really bad right now. It's like 3 AM in EU. And on a lot of like the smaller sites, you actually can't get action anymore around this time. But here I had like basically no problem getting action. I mean, there's not like the same amount of tables running as on PokerStars, obviously. But compared to some other smaller sites, definitely a decent bit of tables running. Oh, those guy 3-bets were out. Both of them have basically no big blinds left whatsoever. Okay, would have flopped the nuts basically. The pocket jacks. Good old 3-9 suited. Not a very promising hand. I'm gonna just lay it down. Tough fold here. 7-10 suited. Might see a flop. Yep, probably will. Not likely, we're gonna see a flop here. While we get down to King 10 of clubs on table 3. Top left is table 1, top right is table 2, and bottom left for you is here, is table 3. I have it a bit differently on my screens, but yeah, just not to confuse you. He may open C3 bets, he's short, we're just gonna let this one go. Not gonna cold 4-bet bluff a fish short stacker there. Not really incentivized to do so. Just gonna go with a really value heavy strategy there pre-flop. While I also take the auto rebuy on here. Queen Jack. Might see a flop. As always, this part will be 30 minutes long, by the way, and this will be a 2-part video series if I haven't mentioned it yet. This guy has a straight, somehow gets money on the river, that's weird. On a 4 straight there, but sure. The 10-7. Yeah, sure, there's a fish in the big blind. Let's make a loose open. Somewhat non-standard, pretty loose open. Get jammed on. Get punished. Insta-punish. Folding the Jack-8 at UTG. Gonna open the Ace-9 with the small blind being a shoddy fish. If folded to me. If raised in front, we have a pretty easy fold with the Ace-9. Would have been one of the worst hands we open anyways from cutoff. And you can see the VIP statuses here. It's kind of cool. You can also see where they're from, I guess, if you hover over it. Well, you can see the flag. Spain. Okay, I'm not gonna. UTG open, Queen 5 suited, full 3x UTG open. This guy's also really short. Oh, no, it really wasn't short. That was just. Don't know why I thought he was short, but yeah, not gonna defend there, regardless of whether he's short or not. If it was like a button open, we might defend, but not for the UTG open. And with 3x as well, we are even less incentivized to do so. Folding the Queen 7 off, blind v blind, folding the King 3 off here. Top left and top right. Top right we do pick up a pretty strong hand, and bottom left we also do pick up a pretty strong hand. So let's open both of them. Sometimes it's okay to just take down the blinds. Folding 4-5 offsuited. Let's see, will we get something with the ace queen? If this guy would have 3-bet me, I would have called. Because he's not a non-full stacker. And he already has 3-bet like 2 times before. In terms of HUDs, I'm pretty sure like second party softwares are not allowed on here. Not 100% confident, but decently confident. And yeah, the coolest part was actually like all of the deposit things. Like if you deposit, you instantly get to like a certain VIP step, you instantly get like a lot of rake back, you get a lot of free tournament tickets. Like pretty great first deposit bonuses. So definitely worth to grind those out. I will definitely do so. He pots it. I mean, probably not the best player in the world just by that read. I'm gonna call my top pair. Turn a gut shot, block the nuts, gonna check, do beat bluffs. Don't think I really beat value. I do block decently good hands. He now sizes down. Doesn't really make sense. His line is pretty weird. We're gonna call and then see what river brings, see what he does, see what the card is, and make a decision. That's a pretty bad river because a lot of his bluffs are gonna be ace high flush draws or some random ace jacks, ace kings, which now get there. Plus he's never gonna bet a hand like, I don't know, pocket jacks anymore, so probably will just end up check folding. There's a 3x open with the 2-7, we're gonna fold. There's a 2.5x blind, we're gonna defend. Even though he's really short, we're basically gonna try to flop a pair and then go broke. He checks. Don't want to bluff this guy, given he only has like a pot size bet left, basically. Just gonna check and try to turn top pair. Or maybe I have like showdown value as well. It's possible to win. And we did win with the Queen 10, pretty good result. The Queen deuce in the small blind, obviously gonna fold in the top left. And top right, gonna fold to the turn probe. And bottom left, we're just gonna check fold. This pretty disastrous board for not only our range, but especially so for our hand. We do turn top pair, which is a pretty sweet turn. We're gonna opt to bet pretty large. And get some value. And we're gonna overbet this river, because I think a lot of his calls here that play this way are gonna fold to Jack 3. I think a lot of his calls here will be, I'm folding the King 5, will be Queen X, and I don't think Queen X are basically gonna fold to most sizings, so I'm just gonna overbet. He snap folds, which I have no idea what that means. Could mean a lot of things, could just mean ace jack high, who knows. I think a lot of the hands that actually check back flop and then snap call turn are probably gonna be a queen, and like king queen, even though those that could also step flop. Also the 7 is a pretty sweet river. generally. And yeah, I just thought like he's gonna be quite inelastic there in terms of calling hands. I think if you bet like pretty big, like basically pot or something, I'm also not quite certain whether he would call a hand like third pair there. He might even be more likely to go to overbet with third pair. Yeah. He limps blind to blind. Just gonna check back, see a flop, folding some garbage here on the bottom left. He pots. Pretty good flop for my hand. Obviously call. Pretty dynamic turn. He checks. I think our hand is good. I'm gonna bet. Let's make it that simple. We gain a lot from protection. We can certainly get some value. There's certainly a lot of worse hands that can call us. And a hand like Jack 9 of clubs folds, I will totally be fine with that. Probably checking back river, depends on the card of course. Good old deuce 7 burger. I take a sip from my tea. Trashy hand, deuce offsuited, not playable, basically under any circumstance. Opening this hand. Good old ace 10 off. It's pretty loose from UTG, you can definitely pass on opening it. I think it's certainly like reasonable to open it. If someone does anything, we're gonna fold. I mean, if the big blind shoves, it's kind of close, giving us 13 blinds. Pretty good flop. Versus a smaller range, we can go either way. We can see bet 1/3 or we can check. Both are fine. I actually think I would check this hand this time. Allow him to pick up a pair, allow him to pick up a gutshot and bluff, allow him to bluff with a random hand. I would be more inclined. I'm gonna overlimp here with the river suited. I would be more inclined to take in like ace 3, ace 2, ace 5, but I think ace 10 is still fine as a check back sometimes. And given we also have the club in our hand, we're not gonna fold, and especially given how we played the hand. Just gonna check back the jack deuce top left, and gonna check fold this flop even though I have a pair. It depends. We bet top pot I have here. Okay. He pots it on the river. I'm not thrilled, but given we have the club and given how I played my hand, he can certainly try to push us around here, assuming we have like jacks or something. I'm gonna call. Very good. Just gonna check fold to jack deuce. Indeed, we are good. So I'm assuming he had a random hand that bluffed, like queen jack off diamonds, which would obviously be a really great result because we would have c-bet the flop. He wouldn't have put any more money into the pot. But I don't know what he had because he mucked his hand. And I'm not 100% certain how to find it out. If there even is a way. On some sets there's not. Given this is a button open and we're in a small blind, we are pretty thrilled to 3-bet this hand. 60, 240, I'm gonna go to about 260. Oh! I just out-timed out there. Well, that's a bit tilting. Just auto-timed out there. Opening the king 7 blindly blind while this table is breaking. Hope there's someone gonna sit down. Yeah, obviously would have 3-betted hand. Just was trying to figure out the sizing, which I guess is about 260 to 280. Given we were a bit deeper, I'm gonna size up a bit. I mean, it's not the end of the world, but obviously would have been hand. We are more than happy to 3-bet them. So I guess the timing doesn't automatically activate in that scenario, which is something to note. So we have to hurry there next time, or press the timing button, which I'm not 100% certain where it exactly is. Pretty cool 1/3 c-bet spot. If he raises, I might call the raise. Interesting turn. We might check call this turn. We do block a few backdoor floats that can bluff now, but we unblock diamonds, we unblock gut shots, we unblock straight draws basically. Well, I mean, I guess we do block some gut shots, but generally not assuming ace high is going to bluff a lot. And now I'm just going to check down, having some sort of showdown value. I do with ace 3, ace 5, and like ace 9. And we do win. Generally, even if people have like queen high, they are not really bluffing enough there. So, can just go for showdown there. King queen, pretty good hand again. But we do play some short stack, or short-handed rather. Short-handed poker, pretty good flop. Wanna see where the dollar. Hoping not to face a raise. Folding some garbage on the bottom left. Top left might be interesting. If we get raised, we're just gonna call. We do turn the effective nuts. I mean, we could be beat, but realistically he leads. We're just gonna call down, having the diamond and having a straight. We could raise, but it's getting somewhat thin, especially because we are deep. We're just gonna call. And we do river the nuts, and if he leads, we're just gonna shove. He checks, we're gonna bet pretty big. I think he's inelastic once again. If he has a diamond, he's not gonna fold, and if he doesn't have a diamond, he's gonna fold. So I'm gonna bet pretty large here. $5 into 670, and we got a call. We could even consider to bet bigger there. Could even consider to overbet there, but I wasn't too certain how much his like jack of diamonds or something would call. What the jack of diamonds was on the board, but you get the thrill of what I mean. He also checked pretty fast. If he would have tanked a bit longer, I might have bet bigger. Pretty interesting spot here with the king jack. Could see myself check raising. Interesting turn. I'm gonna check raise this turn. Let him stab. Let him bluff. And also, if he has a king, I want to cooler him for the maximum. Folding the 7-9. Interesting river. At this point in time, we're just gonna lead. Hoping he has river to queen, basically. We had min raise. I mean, getting min raised here really sucks. I have no idea. I'm just gonna call and hate myself if I'm beat. He has the ace 10, okay. 3-betting the pocket jacks there. And calling off here for the 11 big blinds. And gonna see bet 1/3. He has ace king high and gets there. C-betting 1/3 of the pocket jacks. And folding the ace 4 in this one. And checking this turn of the pocket jacks. And interesting. I think I'm just gonna check the river and see what he does. Going for showdown here. Maybe missing out on some value. He just snap pots it. I'm just gonna lay it down. You have the king jack there. We can maybe find a fold versus the min raise, but just given how the hand played out, it just checked to the river and then we get min raised on. I have a hard time folding the 2 pair there. Checking back, that's pretty bad board. Folding ace 9, gonna fold the ace king here. I was checking down, trying to take my showdown. River, one of the best cards possible. Gonna bet relatively big. I would certainly bluff this card a lot as well, so somewhat inclined to call me a decent bit there, and I just think he's probably gonna station me a bit there. We have aces. Let's try to not time off this hand though. Making it 150, 3x this raise, blind to blind. If he forwards, we're gonna 5 jam, folding some garbage on the other table. He forwards, we're just gonna jam. He min forwards, or something like that. We're just gonna jam it in. Trying to cooler him. Not gonna slow play here. Not with the snap forward range. We get called, so far so good. Trying to avoid a king or a queen. Well, that would be, well, we're good. He doesn't have kings. I wanted to say that would be kind of disappointing. Well, no, playing heads up here. I guess the video will only go for 5 minutes longer, so I'm not gonna jump on another table. By the way, let me know if you do enjoy some heads up content or if you hate heads up. I'm always not really sure about whether people actually might want to see it or whether people really don't want to see it. So I would appreciate some feedback on whether heads up is like enjoyable or productive for you. You know, I personally don't mind playing some heads up. I'm not the best heads up player. I am not learning heads up like specifically, but I'm up to dabble a bit. And I've played some reasonable amount of heads up lately, because there was some decent heads up action running on microgaming. Yeah, calling the 10-7. We'll go for a little check raise key on the flop. Given everyone wants to jump in here, we're going to set mine from the small blind here. And here we're going to see bet 1/3. And here, he bets pretty big. I'm still going to check raise. GL. We have a straight flush gut shot here. Maybe we can hit a straight flush. He calls. Interesting. We do turn gut shot. But given he bets pretty big and then snap calls me, and I don't pick up an enormous amount of equity, I'm just going to check fold. And sometimes we're going to check and see the 9. I still don't think he has enough folds here for me to go crazy. Just gonna check, ship the ace-8 of hearts here. I'm just gonna give up the 10-7. And he has the king-9, which I don't think is gonna fold at any point in the hand. I would need to trip a barrel to get him off that. Oh, here we are. Probably good with the nuts. Here it goes min bet into min click. I mean, we have a straight flush gut shot, my friend. I'm gonna see a river here. Come on, bro. Let me see a river now. Suddenly starts to limp. Well, we do river a set. I mean, a set is reasonably good. It's a 4 straight on the bottom and a 3 flush, so I'm not going to go too crazy. I'm just going to check for the most part. But if they bet relatively small, I'm going to call. I don't think we really want to lead with the set, given it's a 4 straight and the 3 flush, and there are 2 people in the mix. I'm going to fold to check 9 here. With the diamond, I might check raise, but he just has seen me check raising pretty light. Probably wouldn't actually. Ace queen, pretty easy open. Taking it down with the king 3. Face a 3 bet here with the ace queen, pretty easy call. Folding the 4-3 off. One of the rare hands I'm going to fold in heads up. I'm V-pipping and PFRing a lot heads up. He c-bets pretty large. This is a pretty awkward spot. I honestly think we should just fold this given the sizing he chooses. Without a backdoor flush, with a backdoor flush I would still peel. But yeah, just given the sizing he chooses, I'm just going to lay it down there. The queen 3, if he bets like half pot, I'm going to float it. Interesting. Just going to go for short on relatively strong high card hands. Well, the runout is also quite favorable for a queen high. We're checking down, sometimes winning, sometimes chopping, obviously losing a decent bit. And we just win. Good result there. Fetus. Just gonna open. As said, I'm opening a lot heads up. Definitely widening my ranges heads up. The good old ace king. Oh, well, I might get some action with ace king if this guy opens. Yep. 3-betting him. GL, gonna raise the ace-8 here for value. I'm not sure if he can isolate over this. Preferably I would have needed to look at how much I need to raise so I can still isolate. Holding the queen 6 and trying to check call the ace-8 with the ace of clubs. Could also see what 1/3. But yeah, just gonna check call. Just gonna check turn and decide on whether how big he bets. If he bets half pot, I have a hard time folding. We're just gonna check down. I mean, he just checked down a hand worse than queen high. So I'm just gonna assume we have a reasonable amount of chance of just checking down and winning here. The 10 is not necessarily a good card, exactly. Just I mean, the 10 is a pretty bad card overall. Oh, I'll say ace king. With 2 binds deep, so kind of interesting if he decides to 3-bet. Interesting flop. We're gonna c-bet for value and protection. Well, I'm gonna sit out next BB, by the way. He leads really small. That's really bizarre to me. I'm just gonna call. Don't think he folds a better hand if I raise. He could call worse hands if I raise, but yeah. He's probably gonna lead small again, and then he's probably gonna pot river. So let's just improve. Well, he bets relatively large. I can't really see myself folding. We beat his bluffs. We always have equity, basically. Well, not always, but usually have equity. Pretty good river. Well, we're gonna bet around 160, 180, 176 to represent the 7-6, the missed open-ender. Trying to get a call out of pocket 7s here, for what it's worth. And gonna 3-bet what you get min raised on. I mean, we've seen this movie before, and last time he just had the nuts. I'm gonna give him credit here, actually. I'm still uncapped. Let me see the timing. Is it just automatically? No, it's not automatically activating. That's weird, I have to figure that out. How the timing is interacting here. But yeah, I would have folded it anyways. I didn't really time out. I was just trying to look at how it works. But I would have folded it anyways. I mean, we have seen that movie before from him. And last time it just meant the nuts. I'm just gonna assume it also means the nuts. The line overall is pretty nutty anyways. And yeah, we are still uncapped there. We can easily have better hands there. And right here, I'm just gonna start by c-betting relatively big. And if someone wants to get it in, we're going to get it in. We do block ace queen and king queen, even granted we only block the off-suited combinations. We also do break high spades, which also reduces the amount of time they are going to play back at us. And we obviously have a ton of equity versus anything, really. This is not even a bluff, it's like a mix. It's more of a merge than a real bluff. Interesting turn. I'm kind of tempted to check it back. Because there's already like only 2/3 pot for both in there. And yeah. I actually will check it back here. Allowing him to pick up something on the river, allowing them to bluff on the river. The only bad river is a 4 spade, which generally is not going to come a lot of the time. That might be a good river, that might be a bad river. Generally more of a good than a bad river, I assume. Now we're gonna jam with the nuts. Jamming the nuts. Called by one guy, that's good. Oh, that's obviously good. It's interesting. We could also decide to, like, exploitatively, we could probably bet really, really tiny on the turn for like a 1/5, 1/6 pot type of bet. We could also jam turn. That's also reasonable. But given how, like, the blockers we have, and given if they do have a set, we're gonna stack them on river basically regardless. Besides if the river is a 4 spade, right? And 4 spade is really not gonna come that often. If they have a worse flush, we're like always gonna stack them on the river as well. Yeah. I mean, I guess we could lose some action on rivers versus hand like ace queen. I think we have a lot of reasonable options. Given how the SPR was, that we only had 2/3 left already. Given that we were in position as well to both players, which is also a big factor, right? Because we don't have to act first on the river, we can just let them act. I kind of like the option to check back there occasionally. But I don't mind betting really tiny and I don't mind shoving. I think every option there is good. I mean, with the nuts, it's hard to misplay the nuts. Kind of interesting hand. So yeah, that was the first part of this video series. Gonna try to figure out the time bank thingy to not fold ace queen again. And yeah, I hope you will be back for the second part and hope you will look into Ultima Poker. Until then, have fun, have a nice holiday, have a nice Christmas, and peace.